I think if I were to change this movie, I would have Hiccup die at the end. I really think that I would have had them get married sort of more towards the middle of the film. And maybe Astrid finds out she's pregnant, but I think it makes so much more sense to have Hiccup die at the end and be like, okay, his final wish was that the dragons got to be safe. And so Hiccup is like, I know that I'm just going to cause pain to the people here. So I'm going to take the dragons to the hidden realm because no one else is going to be able to do anything.
I'm not against that idea. It have to be done right. But that's not a bad idea. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that wouldn't have been like a big arc.
Dragon claw, wing and scale. Come now, let's examine a tale of the greatest beast ever considered. Another episode of Big Flying Lizards.
Rarely do I get to say that these dragon movies are relatable for some reason. I don't know why, but I just have to say, watching Toothless try to impress the female dragon, the Light Fury, was so beyond relatable. Like, oh, I've seen people do this. That's cool. I look like a jackass. Well, my buddy's telling me I should do this. Let me do that. I look like a bigger jackass now. And, you know, just like in all relationships, it just comes down to that he ain't built right. He's missing the fin, and he just ain't built right.
Definition, I've been really excited to cover this one because this one truly is How to Train Your Dragon. Stop scaring the host.
And on that, welcome to Big Flying Lizards, a dragon movie and television podcast. I am your host, Bryce Wilson, and I am joined once again by the one and only Chayce Hernandez, or the one who does not scare the host. Chayce, how we doing?
I have a pink eye from your mom. I'm doing great. And that's not your mom, Bryce. That's the crowd's mom.
That is the chat's mom. We need to find ourselves. We need to find ourselves a chat mommy over here. Nana, you could be our chat mommy for today. Bonjour to you, Nana Vega.
Bonjour to you.
We are back because what do you know? Riley is a flake. It's Pride Month. He thinks that he can just get away with flaking whatever he wants to flake. So I hope you're happy wherever you're at, Riley.
The part about this is he's not going to see this. He's never going to know.
He's never going to watch the podcast. He doesn't even accept the tags. Whenever I tag you guys in it, he just leaves me on red. And I know he posts so much on Instagram. I know he sees the invitations.
Riley acts like he has an Instagram following. You go on there, 300 followers. He has like a very curated post. Who are you doing it for?
No, I think.
Who are you doing it for?
I think he knows.
Definition of scaring the host. This is no longer about dragons. I'm just going to call out people I know that are scaring the host.
Well, Nana over here is saying that he gives the gays a bad name. This is gay on gay violence over here.
No, not the gay on gay violence. That's so funny.
It's Pride Month. We're already...
The girls are fighting already.
The girls are fighting. Well, they've been fighting. If you know, you know, they've been fighting.
Yeah.
Chayce, what are we talking about today?
Man, we are talking about...
Other than hoes.
Either the best or the worst out of the movies of How to Train Your Dragon. I feel like people go either way with this one.
I actually do not think I could have said it better myself. We are discussing How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. Ironically enough, not called How to Train Your Dragon 3, which How to Train Your Dragon 2 was called How to Train Your Dragon 2. They decided to just toss that off to the side and do How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. And if it's all right with you, Chayce, I'd love to just start introducing the film in full.
Let's get into it.
All righty. How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World is a 2019 American animated fantasy film loosely based on the book series by Cassandra Cowell. Produced by DreamWorks Animation and distributed by Universal Pictures, it is the sequel to How to Train Your Dragon 2 in 2014 and the final installment to the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. Written and directed by Dean Du Bois, the film stars Jay Bachel, America Ferrara, Murray Abrams, Kate Blanchett, Gerard Butler, Craig Ferguson, Jonah Hill, Christopher Pintz plays Kristen Wiig, and Kit Harington. The film follows the 21-year-old Hiccup seeking a dragon utopia known as the Hidden World while coming to terms with Toothless's new bond with a female Fury. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World was released in Australia on January 3rd, 2019, and in the United States on February 22nd. Like its predecessor, it received positive reviews from critics with praise for its animation, voice acting, musical score, and emotional weight. The film grossed over $525 million worldwide. It received several accolades, 5 Annie Award nominations, a Golden Globe nomination, and a nomination for Best Animated Feature at the 92nd Academy Awards. Now, I think you shared your hand a little bit earlier, but what are your overall thoughts of the film?
I feel like people either go either way with this one. I don't know. I think it's just such a good. This is such a good three-piece. It's such a good three-piece. This is my favorite of the three.
Really?
Because it gives you. I really wanted less Viking and more dragon, and I got the dragon I wanted in this.
You wanted a shoddy dragon, is that what I'm hearing? That you wanted?
I wouldn't say that, but if I saw one, I might say what up.
You wanted Toothless to be clapping some. You wanted him to be putting his name Toothless to work over here.
I think we need. Wait, hold on. I need to see something. Pause the podcast.
Oh dear. While Chayce is looking up Bad Dragon, we're going to be just discussing my initial thoughts on the film. Is I loved the upgrades that they did to the animation. Like, you can truly see that there was an upgrade in the animation. And I think my only grievance with this film has been my overall grievance with the films going like since the beginning, in that the villain game is weak in the How to Train Your Dragons universe. Like, the Red Death is really, it's just a monster, it's just a beast. In the second one, the guy with the missing arm who can control the alpha, like he's really not even a character. He's not really present. And then in this guy, it's almost like they're trying to create the anti-Hiccup, but it just, one, there's a lot of inconsistencies there, and two, he ain't it. Like, so I don't know. And he even said at one point that Hiccup's father was the greatest dragon hunter of all time. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Maybe if we're just talking to hand combat, killing dragons, maybe he was the greatest dragon hunter. But Homeboy wasn't controlling alphas. Homeboy wasn't like bending dragons to his will. He was just straight up like murking dragons.
Cold hard still. Toothless was going to clap any cheeks. Need to make sure we're not talking about a youth. And in this movie, he's 30 to 35 years old, so he can clap as many cheeks as he wants.
How do we know that? How do we know that?
You know what? This just changed everything. That exact stat just changed how we're going to view this movie. This movie just went from like the third How to Train Your Dragon. It went from Not Scared to Hose to the 30-year-old virgin.
Yeah, he was.
That's exactly what this turned into. Have you seen this? If you've ever seen that, I think it's 40-year-old virgin, the Best Buy scene where he's like,
I love, like, it's the only scene that seems to go viral on Instagram. So I see it like once every 2 or 3 weeks, and it still slaps. Like,
every time.
Every fucking time.
Single time. Yeah, so I was sitting there and I was like, yo, how old is this dragon? And now we know. He's 35.
That we do. I don't know why they
He was 15 when he met Hiccup.
Well, good on him. Good on him. He
was 20 at the beginning of this movie. 20-ish. And then he's at the end 30s.
In his 30s. Well, is that at the very end, like when they're...
That's what I'm imagining. That's what this is, because it says estimates based on his age and his children suggest he's 30, 35.
Okay.
So he's probably like, mid-20s. So that makes this a little bit better for our boy.
So he's like me. Just kidding.
know, Bryce, let's talk about it. Have you ever brought a girl over and showed her the podcast layer? I want to know how that goes over. Is their first impression just like, wow, you really care about this?
You're passionate about something. That's adorable. It's great that you have a hobby over here. Like, let me show you my
while they're
figurines.
looking and while they're messing with stuff, you're secretly putting on a fishing net tank top.
Hold up.
Let me slip into something a little more comfortable for you. And it's just fishnet. Please do not. Please do not want to.
It's Pride, motherfuckers. We're coming out in the fur. We're coming out in the hoods. Ugh.
Let's go ahead and get into the first chapter.
Why not? I'm having so much fun. There's so much to discuss right now. While they're looking at my figurines, I'll whip this bad boy out and be like, hey, girl.
You put that bad boy on and put on some apple tea.
Like,
a little warm apple cinnamon tea to set the tone.
Hey, girl.
It's sure to be a very splendid hinge date.
Have you ever been with a Viking, my lady?
You ever been with a sorcerer?
I'm a level 15 sorcerer who
grown man.
All right.
And then you hit him with the alakazam.
And no, Nana, it is not a onesie. It is a cloak minky blanket that I have here. It is the most expensive piece of clothing that I own, ironically enough. I bought it at a Ren fair. Excuse me. No regrets. None. Not.
Oh.
Nana's already having such a time saying like, and if Bryce is already having pride hangover after the first weekend, honey, you're got a big storm coming. How old is the female dragon then? Which is a very important question I think we do need to ask ourselves.
We are getting to the bottom of this.
Chayce, where are you going with this? Oh, where did you come from?
Is that a dog? Is that Ramsey?
No, it's Phoebe.
She heard your dating life come up and she's like, I gotta save him.
It's like, let's be real, you're the only way that you get women.
I mean, let's see. I'm getting deep. There's no exact age here.
Oh no, that's not good.
How old is okay, but
well, I mean, I do have some of my own theories that I've got going on with it, but I'll save that for later on in the podcast.
Okay.
Apparently,
she's a little bit older. So Toothless. Is that she doesn't have kids, but I mean, that's a cougar, right?
Yeah, that is. I'd say a mountain lion at that point.
Shit, okay, Toothless.
He's an inspiration to us all.
Shit, go and pull. That is so real. You have to pull an older baddie by being yourself. All these people your age and a little bit younger, they don't want you to be yourself. But the older baddies, they want to see a guy be whimsical.
Not only whimsical, they want you to like, hey, boo-boo, you do you.
After that first divorce, women really start looking for personality. You know what I mean?
And after the second, they just
lost half of my stuff. It's time to get something I can't take half of without just nagging him to death.
What is this?
I gotta take some intangibles.
Oh my god. Nana said this. Just a mountain lion. There are some things that I do want to I wanted to discuss about the movie. So TJ Miller, it was initially a part of the cast, and he originally was set to reprise his role, playing the twin that was pretending his braids was a beard, which low-key I just hated that, and I hate his character in general, but that's neither here nor there. But he was replaced last minute by Justin Ruppel after legal troubles, which he faked a bomb threat. You know, that's all.
Wasn't that around the Deadpool stuff that was happening?
I think so. I think that's
what I was going to say. The last movie that I was thinking, I was like, it's weird that TJ Miller, he really nuked his career.
Yeah. And like, I always thought they nuked his career because he hated Ryan Reynolds, but apparently,
What he should be doing right now is coming back with the right. TJ Miller has the greatest opportunity to reprise his career by hating. Right now is the good time to hate Ryan Reynolds. He has the opportunity.
if there's any time, now is the time.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Light Fury, so the female dragon, was very difficult for them to actually film, and they had to like set up a whole new software to design, like, to be able to get her scales animated, which it's saying here that her, like, just the color, how it like shone, especially the bioluminescent scent of the scales. So I'm guessing like when they're in the hidden world specifically. And another thing, this movie was delayed quite a bit because it was originally set to be released in June of 2016, which, if you look at it, the last movie came out in 2014, and then this movie came out in 2019. So, I mean, like, that's a 6-year difference. And I was even thinking, like, okay, what was going on here? What was causing this delay? And I think that the technical difficulties with the Light Fury, apparently they were thinking about bringing back the last film's villain to be like, joining up with their team. What is this? Bring your pet to podcast day over here?
This is not a pet. It's a rat, and it's a rescue.
This is a rescue rat as well.
Yeah.
Look at that. This looks like Toothless. That looks like the Light Fury. This looks like Toothless.
Are you scared in the hose?
Well,
that's how you get in this podcast. You got to scare the hose. Confirmed.
Well, I think on that note, I think we're good to dive right into the film unless you feel otherwise.
I think we should absolutely dive right in. I think we've broken down your love life enough.
All right. Chapter 1, A Kingdom Under Siege. Burke is overcrowded with rescued dragons and hunters attack constantly. Hiccup, stressed but determined, clings to Stoic's legend of the hidden world as their only hope. Warlords gift the elusive white light fury to Grimmel, who plans to use her as bait for Toothless. Toothless discovers the Light Fury in the woods, playful, curious, and instantly smitten, but she vanishes when Hiccup and Astrid approach. Grimmel confronts Hiccup, revealing he slaughtered Night Furies and wants Toothless as the last. Hiccup's ambush fails, and Grimmel's death grips set Burke ablaze. With their home in ruin, Hiccup declares that we will find the hidden world or die trying, and the Birkins set sail for the unknown. I actually really, I was pleasantly surprised with the open, because I was really expecting when I watched this that the open was going to be very similar to the original opening, where it has like the monologue, but they just dived into this like 007-esque mission to rescue dragons, and it was low-key badass. Like, I loved seeing all their armor upgrades, where it's all dragon armor that they're upgrading with. It's all okay, I'm taking this hood off because it is hot as hell.
It's what the hoes want.
It's what the hoes want. They want me to lose my head. But like, seriously, the dragon armor looked so good, and I am just sitting here like, how do I get myself a pair of armor that looks like that?
Everything in this, it was what it needed to be. It was badass. It was a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Right to the action.
Right to the what?
To the action.
And the action. Oh, I thought you said hat.
Well, I feel like where they messed up in the second one, where they kind of like, gave that long. They did the opposite here. They were like, no, we're going.
Just diving right on in. Well, I mean, I feel like with the second one, they were trying to show like that level of unity. That's they're like, oh, the dragons and humans are working together to the point where we have like games that we're playing with the dragons and the competition and ways to keep ourselves busy. While this one, they're like, okay, we've already got a society established, but this is how we're building on our society and how we're actually helping other dragons that are being catched and enslaved. Because you think about it, like the last villain, of course he wasn't going to be the last villain to like use dragons as his personal army. So, I mean, it only makes sense that they are over there trying to stop the next. Okay, baby, you need to get off. Like,
yeah, so
the podcast is falling apart.
These bitches, man.
He's These hoes, these bitches. People are gonna be so confused when they come in and they're like, 1 second they're just talking about these hoes and these like, are they Andrew Tate wannabes? Like, what's going on here?
I like to feel that there is a certain flair that the podcast has when I'm on it.
You think?
I don't know. Yeah, I would like to say that. Yeah, there's probably a little bit more of that.
Well, I mean, I did state in the description of the last episode that I just posted that it is the most unhinged episode to date, which, if you go and watch, you will see why it is the most unhinged episode.
That freaking 1 hour and 4 minute in, so good.
If you know, you know. So go check it
out. You know. Anyways,
back to the podcast. I already said it, but I really am not impressed. Like, aesthetically, I'm not impressed. Again, they're really just trying to make the anti-hiccup. They're trying to make this like really lean, innovative, creative villain who is able to master dragons, but is also able to just be innovative. But it's not the same. It doesn't work, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you big time. I feel like that's, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but it really is like the downfall of the series is the villain.
Yeah.
Where they just, it's because the dragons work so well, they don't need to lean on having a really good villain for any character arc, really.
Sorry, 1 second. Stop eating the drywall!
This is the shorts. The working from home outfit is absolutely popping off right now. Oh my god. I know those shorts are from 2012 and they go way below your knee too. Yep. Oh.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
The work from home fit is crazy.
Oh, so you saw the shorts.
Yeah, having the robe on with the shorts and that shirt is absolutely fantastic. I'm surprised that you don't have a harem as we speak.
Who says I don't? Chayce, I don't know what it is. I don't know. Like, the Chaos Duo really is a legit thing here.
We are 30 minutes in. We've covered 5% of this movie.
We've covered nothing. We legitimately have covered nothing. But
as I was saying,
the villain. I think that's really what separates Shrek from How to Train Your Dragons, because Farquaad was such an iconic, like, little gremlin villain in the first one, and then the fairy godmother is just so good as well. And Prince Charming falls off a little bit, but he's still pretty good himself, in my opinion. So I mean, like, that's like, and I'll be honest, I've never saw Shrek 4, so I'm waiting to discuss that with Ryan on the pod. So we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we cross that bridge. But
yeah, it just seems it seems like the I don't know, it's odd. How did these movies work so well? I think the issue with these movies is that they're written super well, they're done super well, and they have good characters. Like, the characters truly carry this show.
Yes.
And because of that, they get the pass on having crappy villains. But at the same time, it's like, I don't feel like they could have that good of a villain without it making the movie worse.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, we're nostalgic for the olders, but like, when you think back about, like, in the 90s, Disney, and again, I know this is DreamWorks, not Disney, but Disney was coming up with banger villains. They had Jafar, they had Ursula, they had Scar. And then in even smaller films, like we discussed Rupert in Quest for Camelot, he's amazing himself. But it's one of those things where, how hard is it to put a little effort into creating a villain? Like, I'm not saying you need to center the film around it, but
enough of the animals.
This is now becoming an anti-animal podcast.
Right, yeah, this is now a whatever PETA is, we're the opposite of that.
Antipeta? That sounds...
We're Antipeta.
That sounds...
Your Aunt PETA. We are your Aunt PETA. No, I agree. It's just one of those ones where, exactly like you're saying, you're just like, it didn't even have to be like the story's different. You just could have made them interesting.
Yes.
You could have brought some Viking lore in there. You guys could have swung Thor. That could have been done.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Well, I'm sitting here like, okay, who are these people, these warlords? They look like they're like in Asian armor, but they're not Asian. Like, but like, what are they doing? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it seems like they broke up into teams, and the team that was over the just really didn't deliver time and time again.
Were they the ones that were just smoking in the back? They're like, shit, we have to show our idea in 2 hours. Quickly, let's throw together something here.
Yeah, it really is like one person who's like, well, what do we do this? And then it's just like,
Well,
but yeah, villains are a big opportunity.
They tried to make us hate this villain because they're like, he's destroying Burke, like he's destroying their town, and like as he sets his dragons loose. And the entire time I'm just like, this is a city filled to the brim, literally overflowing with dragons. And you're telling me that these like drugged up 4 dragons were not discovered at all?
Had enough.
I love how Seth and Chicken were just sitting there staring.
Had enough of him. He's over there huffing some water out of a cup like he's freaking never had it. Don't need it. Don't need it. Yeah, I agree. The one thing I'll give credit for, though, this is the most consistent villain. The character, the arc, having all of its flaws and its lack of sparkle, it's consistent.
Yes.
And it's way better than the last one. And at least he's in the movie. Like, it's not like kind of ominous and then off. At least, he does what he needs to.
And it's not because he's white, but
yeah, no white guilt. Damn. Yeah.
You set him up and I knock him down.
Now bring up the white dragon.
Well, Nana's over here is saying it's the evil villain as a plot device without any charisma. And I think that's exactly it. Not I think it was 3 weeks ago I was talking about Pete's Dragon, like the old one, the 1977 one. And Pete's Dragon has literally a snake oil salesman as the main villain in that film. And he's sort of derpy. He's not really that intelligent, but he is so charismatic, and it's just so entertaining to see him like going around and literally just fucking people over and being a menace to society. And he's not that intelligent, but he's literally can talk himself out of any situation and flip it to his benefit. And I love villains like that so much more than I love like the smart, calculating villain that's able to like.
I mean, you can do that and have it done well. It's just not done well on a lot of fronts.
Yes.
It's kind of like one of those things of like they didn't know what angle to take. And with the actual conclusion of this movie, they could have taken some interesting, but at the same time, it's like, all right, kids movie, like,
yeah.
This is the best way to put it. They basically just made this movie and we're gonna make this offend nobody. There's gonna be we're not gonna teach anybody. We're not going to learn any lessons. There'll be no historical references from anything. This is a movie about Vikings and dragons. Here we go. Open the curtains.
I was going to save this conversation for the very end of our podcast, but I feel like we just walked ourselves into a situation to be bringing it up.
Well, it's Pride Month. That's what that is.
That it is. But I think if I were to change this movie, I would have Hiccup die at the end. I really think that I would have had them get married sort of more towards the middle of the film. And maybe even like she finds out that maybe even Astrid finds out she's pregnant. But I think it makes so much more sense to have Hiccup die at the end and be like, okay, his final wish was that the dragons got to be safe. And so Hiccup is like, I know that I'm just going to cause pain to the people here, so I'm going to take the dragons to the hidden realm because no one else is going to be able to do anything. And again, like, I know it's a kid's film.
I'm not against that idea. I mean, that's a pretty have to be done right, but that's not a bad idea. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that wouldn't have been like a big arc. My biggest thing is if I could do anything different, I think the issue with this My thing is they're afraid to like point out flaws like really in the society, and so the villains are like villains, but not really for the sake of anything besides like power or like even that. And so there's just not a lot going on there that's really happening that's that entertaining.
Yes.
And so to me, it's like they just needed to do. I think what they should have done, regardless, is put a dent in like that would have been interesting. Is if he's the anti-Hiccup, his whole thing is that like Hiccup crushed his, accidentally killed his dad or something like that with a dragon, and he's especially just going at Hiccup, and then Hiccup has to die and save the dragons, and like that would have been to me, that would have been Chef's kiss plot wise.
Cinema.
But like. Exactly, but like, there's just nothing there for him to like grab onto. It's like, okay, why are you like doing this with Dragon? It's like the reasons they get. It's just nothing. There's nothing of real substance there. Hold on, the cat's coming out of timeout.
So TikTok, I think, understands that I
You're gonna act right.
You're gonna get the belt next.
Right. I won't do it again. Oh, you coming to say sorry? You're gonna say you're sorry. Say you're sorry to the people. That you're sorry for drinking out of a cup of some shit you shouldn't be drinking. Shouldn't be drinking.
There is no sorrow in those eyes whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not easy being a single parent.
But I know it. Don't I know it?
Yeah, you're gonna act right. Whatever reason, these cats respond so well to timeout.
So do my dogs. I throw them in the crate and they stop shitting on.
I just put him in a different room and he can't come out, and he literally is just like, poof.
Well, with mine, like if they know they've done something wrong, and they'll like immediately just run off to their crate and just sit in the crate. I'm like, yep, that's right. Time for timeout.
Exactly. Yeah, you know exactly what's about to go down, and it's a little bit of out of time. Anyways, back to the villain. I think TikTok really understands that I love villains because they send a lot of like edits of different villains, or just like if you're the villain of the story, complete the sentence. But also one thing that like they keep sending these sort of things, and they're like one of my favorite ones. And again, I know it's a little cheesy, but it's always sort of resonated with me. And I think this is why this is like the archetype of a villain that I love the most. And they say it's like the Vegeta approach, where a hero will sacrifice you to save the world, while a villain will sacrifice the world to save you. And that's sort of like, I just wish villains would have, like, if you want to create a good villain, I think that that's what you need to do. Like, this guy literally is just like, I hate night furies and I'm going to kill all. Like, there's nothing to like, it would even make sense if it's like the night furies have like blood that will, like, his mom is dying of some sort of dragon sickness and only the blood of the night fury will like make something. Make it. Honestly, yeah. I think the biggest thing with the villains in this franchise is the villains were made for kids that are like 8 to 10 that don't have all their teeth. Because it's like what they're really doing is just like, it's like, oh, like you really like Toothless? That guy does it.
Yeah.
And you've ever talked to like a 10-year-old and you're like, oh, that's your favorite chip? I hate those chips. And that kid's just beefing with you now? That's kind of how the villains in this are made.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like that? I don't.
Well, that's where I'm curious, like, how are the live adaptations going to be changing that up? Because I'd hope that they'd realize that their audience is older at this point. So, like, again, like I mentioned last week, I'm really hoping that they make these movies more PG-13 as they're going.
I need you to stop. They didn't bring back, what was it? There's a whole bunch of shows that aren't getting, the iCarly's not getting an older version. We're not getting an older version of Ned's Declassified. We got that shitty podcast where we found out they were all fucking. And then they're not making an older version. Phineas and Ferb's back. They're not making it PG-13. I don't need all of that.
I know.
And they're bringing, what else did they bring back? Bryce, they are not going to make a live action movie and then just like re-genre it to an older crowd. It's not going to happen.
A boy can.
Not going to happen.
They're
not going to be like a crowd. We're making these movies alongside the age of the people that watch them. Will not happen.
I know, but one can hope.
No, you cannot. Kill all hope. Now, having said that, give me an anime adaptation that's hard. I would watch that.
Yes. But speaking of going hard, let's go ahead and discuss chapter 2 of the film, why don't we?
I don't tweet.
Chapter 2, The Edge of the World. The exhausted refugees discover a rocky, defensible island and begin to rebuild. Toothless is now in Otto Taflin and finally flies solo to woo the Light Fury, but she lures him away. Hiccup and Astrid follow Toothless's trail to a cascading waterfall where they witness the hidden world's breathtaking majesty. And Toothless knew Alpha. But when the dragon scents humans, they attack violently. Roughnut, captured earlier, escapes Grimmel's ship after annoying him into releasing her. She returns to New Burke, unaware of Grimmel's fleet following. Grimmel's net snares Toothless and the Light Fury, and he uses Toothless's alpha command to paralyze Burke's dragons. Again, Roughnut is just like, I hate all the side characters. They're just all so annoying. And I'm glad
they don't take any time to develop them.
No, like they didn't do it in the second one, which would have been the perfect time to do so. They definitely didn't do it in the first one. Like they just made it so like, okay, this is the overconfident one that's all talk, no bite. The twins are just blatantly annoying, and the big fat one is just the nerd. Like
they kind of took the Goonies approach with the character development here.
Yeah.
Which is none. These are the same kids that were truffle shuffling. Well, no growth happened.
I mean, like the only growth that we see in the movie is literally them becoming dragon riders. And like they try to do stuff to give them a little more character, and it's just all stupid. Like with the big one, they're like, oh, he holds the baby dragon, he takes the baby dragon around with him. And I'm just like, don't get me wrong, I'd be taking a baby dragon around with me all the time if I had a baby dragon ability. But when that's your personality?
It's interesting, once again, how well these movies have done and how good they are, despite some of their really glaring holes, which just comes to my point of Hiccup and Toothless are such good characters together that they carry that. And honestly, it's just Toothless. Like, they really hit it out of the park with that dragon. And they were like, and I think they saw that, like, we have a star. And they just ran that home. That is Charlie Sheen in, like, the 2000s.
Yes. Well, and not only that, like, I agree, like, especially in this last film, because in the first film, Hiccup's voice was awful. Like, I wanted to stab forks into my eardrums and throw myself off a cliff with how horrible his voice was. And it's not gotten, like, I still hate it. It's not like I'm over here cured of it, but it's bearable now. It, like, as he's gotten older. And again, as somebody who was an annoying little kid, I'm not really one to talk about those sort of things. But I don't know what it is about it. Like, it's just so nasally. It's just so, like, dorky. I was discussing
Big Jock Bryce over here with all his hoes.
These fucking nerds.
His mink robe couldn't even fathom that someone would be a little bit nasally.
Maybe it's the insecurities of me.
So far, you called one character fat and said he hangs out with babies. And then the next time you're trashing somebody for having a nasally voice, who in the last podcast we said is not a typical masculine thing. That's his whole thing. Yes. So I am starting to sense, in the middle of my Pride Month, a little bit of toxic masculinity happening right here.
I am ableist.
I don't think this is about, and the greatest part is you are now a bigger villain in this movie than the villain they gave us.
That's all I was going for. That is literally all I wanted, was to be a bigger villain.
Zero effort. But honestly, this portion of the film, now that we have properly trashed it, is a fun watch. It is such a fun watch. It's fun watching. You know, we haven't even gotten into the scenes really deep, but like watching Toothless try to pull, having the friend thing, the tail thing, seeing Toothless's personality come completely out in this portion of it is just like a great. It's a really good watch and it's entertaining, But I think it's so entertaining they just didn't fill that with any character development
Yeah.
besides Toothless.
Literally, they put all of their character development between Toothless and the Light Fury. Like, the funny thing is, the whole mating dances that they were doing, they were taking mating dances from birds, from cats, from puppies. Like, they were taking all these, like, creative things to create these, like, unique mating rituals for dragons. And it's like we were joking about, everything else was just put on a back burner. They're like, oh yeah, Vikings, we'll figure that out later. And then it's the day of, and they're like, oh shit, this one's annoying, and this one has a fake beard that's using his hair. Like,
yeah, I agree. But that's the problem though. It worked.
It
worked.
It made $500 million.
It worked. I think I need the Schneider's like director cut. That's really what I need. I need the 3 hour version where we get all the character development. But in all seriousness, I think it's that lightheadedness, that lightheartedness in this series of films that makes it special, but it's also what holds it back.
Yeah.
And that's the fine balance. And like, obviously, it was a very successful, great movie. Like, you can't say, but like, man, you throw like, if the live action took the Lord of the Rings approach, like that kind of feel, man, that would be good.
Yeah.
Like, just took a lot more serious tone, took a lot of that out, and if they did that age up, like, it would do. Because I think that's the biggest part of it is they treat it like a TV show. Like, it was almost made like it was a TV show where the characters just reset back to the same the next day, and there's never that ongoing really progression. But at the end of the day, man, they have a star. They have a star, and it worked. Toothless is this generation's. What is the three-headed dragon from Harry Potter's name?
Three-headed dragon or the three-headed dog?
Same thing.
Fluffy,
whatever. Yeah, that is this generation's Fluffy.
Yeah, well, they have so many.
In a Blockbuster.
Well,
I remember walking in a Blockbuster or whatever, the film store, and seeing it like a stuffed Fluffy, and I remember being like, "That is sick." And that's exactly how I would feel now if I saw Toothless.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, like, and again, this is a whole nother conversation. Baby Yoda, like, we're in the era of plushies. This is the plushie era. I feel like there's so many not a lot of dragons, specifically talking about dragon films, but going back, there's so many films like in the early 2000s, in the 90s, that if they would have like marketed correctly, they could have been selling plushies like crazy. And I think that is why Toothless was designed to be selling plushies.
100%.
Baby Yoda was designed to be selling plushies. Like, it's the whole idea of like you could theoretically sell a baby Jabba the Hutt plushie and make it work nowadays. Like that.
You could sell, honestly, any, the more strange, the better.
Yeah. Like, it's the pug approach. I love pugs. I love English bulldogs. The more ugly it is, the more adorable it is.
No, honestly, I don't even think I own one plushie. I think I am a Renaissance man.
He is more of the body pillow. That's Chayce's approach.
I have a full-size Jabba the Hutt body pillow that I sleep with.
I wasn't going to say Jabba the Hutt. You're the one who took it to Jabba the Hutt.
What's the strangest body pillow you think you could walk into a room and see? Like, what's the character that you're just like, that doesn't make sense?
Well, I mean,
I got one. It's going to be... What is that show? It's like the Family of Rabbits.
Family of Rabbits?
Yeah, it's like a kid's show. Let me see. Ooh, this would be sick. Walk in, full-size body pillow, Azuma food.
I don't think
Max and Ruby, you walk in there, full-size body pillow.
Okay, I will match and raise full-size body pillow of Caillou.
Get out. Anyways, back to the
podcast. What are we doing here?
Absolutely, 100% though. And this movie was designed in the lab. They knew what was going to make money. They knew what would do well, and they followed the formula. Man, marketers understand how to market.
Yes. Which I think, speaking of marketing, we can market ourselves into chapter 3, unless there's anything else that you want to
I think we covered nothing and everything.
Well, I will quickly read this comment that Nana said. They're hijacking our evolved responses to fawning over babies to fuel their Plushie empire. So
I can't say I disagree.
yeah. But chapter 3, the letting go. Hiccup and the riders dive into battle on wingsuits, freeing dragons midair. Toothless breaks loose, but Grimmel drugs the Light Fury and flees. Hiccup and Toothless pursue Grimmel through the storm using lightning to destroy his death grippers. When Grimmel tranquilizes Toothless mid-flight, Hiccup leaps to save him, freeing the Light Fury first. She rescues Toothless while Grimmel plummets, clinging to Hiccup's prosthetic leg before drowning. Back on New Burke, Hiccup accepts the truth. Dragons will never be safe with humans. In a tearful farewell, he presses his forehead to Toothless. Years later, Hiccup and Astrid sail to the hidden world's edge with their children. Toothless appears with his mate and 3 night light pups. As the kids ride dragons into the sunset, Hiccup muses, one day we'll live in peace. Until then, we wait. With the How to Train Your Dragons book, it's this entire series is very loosely based off of the How to Train Your Dragon series. But the biggest thing that they took for inspiration from the books is at the end of the How to Train Your Dragons books, they are inspired. The dragons do go away, and the Vikings at Burke are saying, like, the world is not ready for dragons, but someday dragons will come back. And I mean, shocker, I'm a sucker for those sort of conversations. One of these days, I do just want to have an episode dedicated to just discussing dragon legends and dragon lore, because there's the nerd in me that's like, are they dinosaurs? Are they strictly legends? Like, what's going on here? What's happening? No, I'm not sitting here saying I believe in dragons, but they're fun to talk about, everyone.
All I'm going to say, hear me out.
Okay?
We're here now.
We're here.
What if, no offense to the Christians, the second coming, dragons?
Well, funny enough, there is a dragon mentioned in Revelations, but
Go on.
The devil is often referred to as the great dragon in the Bible. So, I mean, well, and also get this, Chase. I did some research a few weeks back, because we were doing a movie talking about Quetzalcoatl, the Aztec god. He is a very much a Jesus Christ figure, and according to Aztec mythology and legend, he will return someday as like a Jesus-like figure and save the world and bring in a millennia of peace and prosperity.
I cannot wait for that dragon rating. Jesus Dragon will be rated amongst all other dragons.
Welcome to Big Flying Lizards, the Dragon Movie and Television Podcast. So yesterday, Quetzalcoatl came back, and we here are going to be doing a dragon review of Jesus Dragon.
Oh, God. Back to the movie.
Back to the movie. Again,
get on a conspiracy.
It just, like, it didn't really make sense to me. Like, why did the dragons have to go away? Like, why? Like, it's not like they can't come back. It's not like they can't, like, visit. Like, they're acting like, oh, we gotta go away now to the edge of the world. But, like,
I feel like this was the only way for them to, like, kill off a character without having to kill off a character, to make it emotional.
Yeah. They definitely were trying to do that, but I just feel like they could have done it so much cleaner. There's so many things that they could have done better on that. And instead,
there's 100%. And once again, absolute Disney fashion. Of course, they both two middle-aged men, regardless of dragon or man, meeting up, in their 30s with children to once again fly or day drink is a tale old as time.
They met up to ride the dragon.
They did, yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, that's the thing. This movie is, like, to me, it's still one of the better watches, because you get so much more of, like, because one thing we didn't even cover was, Toothless's freaking awesome new power.
Yeah, he upgraded again. Like, how many upgrades?
But, like, they just throw it in there. Like, they just don't. They just throw so much stuff in there for Toothless just to go away. There's so many other approaches. I actually almost wish they would have taken the Moana approach at this and brought in a lot more lore from like it could have been like you said Vikings. Honestly, Thor would have been the best like protagonist.
He would have
because there's so many places you could take that instead of the end of the world. The dragons go to like there's so many cool plays on things. And Hiccup goes in with Toothless and they become like Viking ghosts. There's so many different angles they could have taken.
Yeah.
That would have been so much more interesting, but a loss.
But at the end of the day, like we keep saying, they were trying to make a kids movie. And I think that where they really struggled with making this, like, yes, it is for adults. Like, adults can go in and enjoy it. But it's not like Shrek, where it's like equal parts meant for adults, equal parts meant for kids. It's like this is primarily meant for kids, but it's just such a good story that adults like it as well.
Yeah, this is one of those films that's like they don't even have that humor in it, where it's like you can tell it's for the kids, but they do some jokes in there for the parents. Not one of those films.
Well, I feel like they're doing away with that more. Like, I don't think
I hope so, because it was always so weird watching back as an adult, being like, why did they throw that in there? I mean, because like your dad's at the theater and he needs a haha. The amount of people that are writing these films now that don't have goatees is getting super high, and that's why those things are leaving. Because that's only something somebody with a goatee would say, like, all right, but what about the parents?
Well, Chase, do you know what I often talk about on this podcast? How writing in films is just going down the shitter. So, coincidence? I think not.
I wonder. Go ahead and let's look at the stats.
We are a stat-driven podcast here, if you haven't realized. We only bring analytics here to discuss and have great conversations. But while he's doing that, I'm going to go over some other just fun facts about the film that we didn't necessarily have time to really go over. But apparently they used a lot of alligator growls, tortoise hisses, and even some modified walrus sounds for the dragons. That's what they did for the sounds of the dragons. They decided to make Toothless and the Light Fury's relationship like sneaky and playful to add to the more cat-like characteristics. The author, Cassandra Cowell, confirmed the movie's ending, the dragons disappearing, aligned with her books, but the reason for why they disappeared was different. In the books, dragons leave due to human industrialization, while the film focused more on the safety from hunters.
Okay, none of that lame shit. I figured something out.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, according to Google, the best year for screenwriting was in the 1970s.
Okay, talk me through it.
The goatee peaked 1990s, 2000s. So it wasn't the goatee. Do you know what the most popular facial hairstyle was in the 1970s?
Was it the porno stash?
It was the mustache and the sideburn.
The sideburn?
We are halfway there. Mustaches are back. We need to bring the sideburns back. Those sideburns come back, these movies are going to start getting real good.
Well, I'll be the first to say
that's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Like, if we're just talking about only sideburns, this might be something you guys are doing without me. Like, I can't be just...
I thought you wanted to be a writer.
I don't want to be a film writer. I want to be a book.
I thought you wanted to be somebody. You're not willing to do whatever it takes?
Apparently not. I think that's what it's coming.
This is where we draw the line.
Sideburns.
A nice, thick side of your head bush.
Why? Why did you use that to describe it of all things as side bush?
Facial hair, face bush, whatever you want to call it.
Nana's over here saying those would be called mutton chops. So
not quite the mutton. You're right. Not the mutton chop. Not down here. We're bringing this bad boy right here.
Right.
And if you're right, make that shit sharp. I'll have to change my haircut.
I'm going to have to go talk to Jelly.
You're going to have to tell Jelly what's going on.
Going to have to tell Jelly.
He's going to have to get to the bottom of this.
But is there anything else you want to discuss about this film before we do our Dragon grade? Any final thoughts on the film?
Yeah. Overall, good film. Enjoyable film. Watchable film. I think when we get nitpicky, there's so much potential there, so it's easy to do that. But I think overall, great film, great characters.
Yeah.
Great moments. A lot of great moments. And one thing I will say that's the best thing about the third film as opposed to the other two is it's interesting the entire time.
Yes.
There's always something happening, whether it be humor or action. And they do a really good job of keeping your attention pretty high on this. Where the other films, like there's some moments like, hey, I'll get up and go to the bathroom right now. This is a good film to really just keep your attention the entire time. I think to me, like I said, this is my favorite film out of all three. The characters are fleshed out. The main characters are fleshed out. You know what you're getting. What it lacks in character development and villain, it makes up for in honestly just good times.
I agree. Like you can really tell in this film that they really stepped, and I know I already mentioned this, but I think it's just worth emphasizing. They stepped up their game for the special effects. Like, and again, it may sound stupid to say, but they make water or just like things like wetness look so good in this film. Like the water looks real. The spit and saliva when like dragons are like licking and coming, like it looks real. And like like I said, they had to develop a whole new software to design the Light Fury. So there's clearly a lot of effort going into it. And yes, we did do a little bit of bashing on this film, but you know, that's what we're here not getting paid to do. We're not getting paid here to bash films. But
if I have to come, I'm going to be negative.
That's what's above my bedroom door. But on that note, we're gonna jump into our dragon rating. Each week we do a dragon rating for the dragon that we discuss. We grade the dragon in 5 different categories: design, special effects, character, film, and X factor. We scale the dragons on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being abysmal, 10 being incredible, and 5 being okay. Now, to finish up our animated series coverage, we figured we would just close it out, focusing our efforts on one dragon, that one dragon being the Light Fury. Now, Chayce, I'm going to take the initiative in going first and grading the Light Fury on design. Now, I actually do not mind the design. I think that they do a very great job at like emphasizing that this is an elegant dragon. This is a dragon very similar to Toothless, that's supposed to be a dragon that is emphasized in speed, but also is dangerous in her own respect. But at the same time, as you know, I love my bigger dragons. I like my scarier dragons. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I wish they would have made her big and scary, but the reason I'm not going to go with the full 10 for her is just because that's just my taste there. But I still think that she's good. In fact, I think she's great. I think that she's an 8 on my scale. So I'm giving her an 8. What are you going with?
It's funny. Actually, I was going to say the same thing. I think I really like Toothless's design. And they did a good job of making it similar enough, but also they gave her a little ambiance with the translucentness and all of those things, and they gave her a good personality, which we'll get into. But overall, yeah, I'm gonna give the design of this an 8. I really think it's a good design. It works.
Yeah, I agree, obviously, on that. Special effects, I'm just going to show my hands. I think it's a 10. Like, I think that the special effects in this film is phenomenal. It's 2019. This is right before the pandemics. And as much as like Austin might hate me for saying this, I feel like the pandemic was like sort of the beginning of the end for like movie animation. Because if you look at films and just see like the level of like what animation's looking like, it's just not the same. Like people point back to like, and again, I know that we say this all the time on the podcast, but Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically Pirates of the Caribbean 2, the animation is insane when you go back and you're like, this was in the early 2000s. Like, what is, and it looks better than stuff coming out in the year of our Lord, 2025. It's really crazy. And I think that this was just really the peak of animation. I don't think we're necessarily going to see anything because the budget for this film was only, let me pull it up real quick. The budget for this film was $129 million, which, I mean, nothing to scoff at, but we're never going to see this level of like film, like of animation with that small of a budget. So I think it's a 10. I think that it looks amazing. I think she looks amazing. And also, she's getting a little extra credit points for that whole software development. But I'll turn it over to you. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna keep it right there. I'm a 9. I think my biggest thing, I agree with you big time. I think the big thing I see in the industry is it's like as soon as the hardware upgrades a lot, there's a big drop in performance as far as like the actual quality of both just animating and recording. And I feel like it takes a while for that software to catch up. And then all of a sudden you start seeing movies like this where they're doing amazing things. And it seems like every like 5 or 10 years when like the technology really jumps forward, the quality almost has to come down for some reason before it levels back up. And then it becomes too expensive to make that big jump. And especially with where AI is right at the moment and how it's not that great, I have a feeling that we're going to have some pretty terrible animation upon us for a while.
Yeah.
Before it corrects itself enough to like really be that high quality.
Well, not to dive in too much, but I really think that that's why anime is really taking off in America right now, because a lot of these studios are still being hand drawn. Now, the animators haven't seen their children in 6 years because they're chained to desks over there, but we see the results of it.
Those children's sacrifice was not for nothing.
It was not. You are not seeing, like, you guys want to see Jujutsu Kaisen season 3?
I was like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
I mean, even Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer is like the pinnacle. Like, Demon Slayer looks better than most movies coming out nowadays. Like,
100%.
And also, like, again, I'm a big
Chainsaw Man.
I never saw Chainsaw Man, but and
Close the podcast.
I know you haven't seen this, but One Piece, like, and again, One Piece has been going on for long enough, but if you go and see some of the best fight scenes in One Piece that have been coming out lately, like, it's insane what they're doing. And it's a lot of it is hand drawn. And one thing that I really appreciate about anime is there is a lot of hand drawn animation. And I think that is a lot to do with Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli, who's really pushing to keep that going. Again, he's not a good person, but he's a great animator and he's changed the game there. But again, I just wanted to dive into that tangent because I do agree. I think we're going to be coming into some more just dark times, a dark age of animation, specifically in the West, because AI is just taking over everything right now. And
it's not great. All right. Next rating before we can go.
Yeah, exactly. Character. Now, I gave Toothless a 10 when it talked about character because I felt like Toothless did the best job that a nonverbal dragon could possibly do. I don't think I'm going to be as generous with the Light Fury, and the only reason that I'm not going to be as generous with the Light Fury is because I feel like they were really just trying to copy Toothless in a lot of ways. And on top of that, I couldn't tell why the Light Fury was the Light Fury helping the villain out? Was the Light Fury not helping the villain out? I don't know what that whole situation was looking like, and it was really sort of unclear. Like, you never really knew if she was under the control of Grimmel or if the Grimmel was just a good enough hunter / tracker that he was able to, like, it was just a lot of confusion on my part, but I still think it was good. So I'm giving her the 6. I think that her character is good, but again, I think they were just copying a lot of what Toothless was and didn't really have it be separated apart from who she was. But I mean, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that.
I think it's probably the first time I've ever rated higher than you, but I'm going to go a 7.
Okay. Talk me through.
Similar reasons, but I think when her personality does come through, which like in that first initial like date, like their like dancing phase where she's like crowding herself and like peeking, it's just she has like, it's just a little different. And I think they do a good job of somehow showing a sex difference between the two, which is super interesting. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
It looks like
he's going back in the room.
7. I can't argue with that. I really can't.
How are you gonna throw up on top of the chair? What the fuck are we doing?
Well, while Chayce is dealing with throw up on the top of the chair.
I need a light of smoke. Holy shit. I need a cigarette.
Being a single father of 2 is
This is why we don't drink from the fucking cup. This is why. That's why you stay out of stuff.
This is why you don't eat drywall, and this is why you don't drink out of the cup.
I needed to have two. All right, give me the dragon rating.
So this is the film score, and I'm really curious to see, because I really don't know where you're going to be going with this on this one. But for me, like, it's a good movie. I agree. It's very rewatchable. The animation is what's holding it up for me mainly. And yes, the dynamic between Hiccup and Toothless is still really good, but everything else is just, it's mid for me. Like, if I was still living a lifestyle where I wasn't actively being sober, I think I'd be enjoying it a lot more. Like, if I could go and participate in the holiest of sacraments, I mean, I feel like it'd be a lot more enjoyable. But I don't know. Like, I feel like this is the weakest of all the How to Train Your Dragons, in my opinions. But it's still good, so I'm giving it the 6. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's superb. I think it's good.
See, I'm going 7.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's. I think it's the best. Like I said before, I think this is the best because once again, the thing that makes How to Train Your Dragon special is Toothless. It is the dragon, and they give you a lot of Toothless in this, and it works. And to me, that's like the fun part of it. That's why the film makes a lot of sense. They give you and that's kind of what I feel like this film is. It's like, oh, we know what you guys are here for. Here's this, and that's kind of what most of the film plays for. Is there moments it could have been a lot better? Yeah. But overall, it's one of those ones where it's like you left the second film being like, man, like I wish there was for me it was like there's just I wish there was more dragon in this. I wish there was more. They played on this aspect. There was more of them fighting, whatever it is. And I feel like on this film they just kind of they're like, oh, that's what you guys wanted. Perfect. Zero character development, zero villain, zero plot, zero anything. We're just gonna animate the fuck out of this dragon's life, and you're gonna watch him fall in love, and that's it. And I think to me, that could just that's like if you look at the movie from that angle, even the very end where he runs like they boat out there, and it's just if you just look at it as like literally just like a documentary about Toothless, it makes sense.
I get where you're coming from, and again, I can't argue with that at all. That does leave us with one final score for the X Factor. Again, I feel like you're going to disagree with me on this one. I think this is going to be where our biggest difference is. I'm going pretty low on this because I really think they're like, oh, this is the girl Toothless. We're just going to make her white, but in every other aspect, she's the very same. But at the same time, like, I also have to acknowledge that they did have to develop a whole new software to design her and all of that good stuff. So I can't be too bashful on it. But at the same time, it literally just feels like it's almost as sloppy as just making her the pink version. Like, that Toothless is black, she's white. She's literally just a copy and paste. Like, her eye is blue, Toothless is green. I think that it's a 5. I think it's okay. I don't think it's great. I don't think
It's funny you say that because I'm actually going probably lower.
Really? Let's hear it.
I'm probably going to 3.
You're going to 3? Okay.
There's no X Factor. There's nothing that special.
Yeah.
I like the character, but there's not like if they had made it to where like once again there's so much opportunity. Great series, but like he's got this lightning and he kind of charges up. Like they could have made it to where they could fuse it together better. There's just so many opportunities for them to like really show like a power scaling.
Yeah.
And they didn't take it. And so to me, it's like the character's awesome. It works. It's fun. But there wasn't like, oh my gosh, like this is the white version of Toothless.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is fun. Like that makes sense. Like you guys literally copied and paste with a fancier software. There was not one moment where I was like, the Night Fury, like there's there's a reason they're after them. And then Toothless doesn't have it yet. Like there's just none of that. And to me, so like I actually go pretty low on that.
Well, it's funny. I meant to bring this up earlier in the podcast, but I think this is actually a good time to bring it up as well. Even their like falling in love scene where like Toothless's tail is fixed and they have their whole flight experience together. It felt like it felt like nonverbal Simba and Nala from Lion King. Like it did not feel unique at all. Like they had a real good opportunity to have like some real tasteful music while dancing in the sky while flying. They could have done some really cool stuff, but it literally just felt like a copy and paste from Lion King. And again, like, nothing wrong with trying to go for Lion King. Lion King's a great film, but I'm a sucker for creativity. I want to see them take risks, and it just seemed like they weren't wanting to take risks on that front. But
yeah, I agree.
Speaking of taking risks, I think we're all going to enjoy this score. The Light Fury in How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, comes out to a 6.9 out of 10, which is not nice, but it is almost very good, which, if I say so myself, that is a very good number.
That is very nice.
That's a very nice number.
Very nice.
Very nice number.
I'm definitely 69.
Some would say it's my favorite number, but you know.
Shit.
But, and that is a closure to our coverage of How to Train Your Dragon, the animated series. I want to thank you, Chayce, for coming on this journey with me as we covered this. It's been a great one. It's been an unhinged one, but it's been a great one nonetheless.
And it's been a great one nonetheless.
But is there anything that you want to plug before we leave today?
No, say goodbye to Mac. Today's his last day.
Yeah, say goodbye to Mac. He's going to be sent to solitary confinement pretty sure.
Oh, the blender.
In the blender. Well, thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe, share with your mom, share with a friend. Until then,
and don't share pink eye.
Don't share. Well, it is Pride Month, so if you're going to share, that's the best case scenario, is sharing pink eye. So, and on that note, have a good night, everyone.
That's all for this week's Dragon Lore. Takes cold and hot, spread shore to shore. Enjoyed yourself? Please join the squad. Follow on social media at BigLizPod. And one quick reminder before you go, to rate, review, and share the show. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. See you next week. Same time, same spot.